So, you may remember a couple of weeks ago, we went over the fact that you had Aaron Banks and Anthony Wigmore were jetting off to New Zealand to, well, to put it bluntly, try and interfere in their elections. In their own words, they were out to cause some chaos. They were trying to oust, can't remember her name now, but the leader of the Labour Party in New Zealand. But luckily and thankfully, a lot of people in New Zealand did actually comment on that videos, and thank you for commenting that, because obviously I don't follow New Zealand politics, so I'm not always 100% clued up on what's going on, especially down under in New Zealand. Or that's more Australia down under, but you get the idea. So it was really nice to see that there were lots of New Zealanders commenting saying that's never going to happen, and luckily, by the looks of things, I've kept an eye on this, looks like that chaos ain't going to happen. So we can at least say the Brexiteers' attempt to try and get someone who was pro-Commonwealth into their into New Zealand's office failed quite miserably. However, it looks like that these Brexiteers are now going to start trying to take Brexit international, as we saw in the case of New Zealand. And today we're going to cover a case that Nigel Farage is trying to spark a Brexit in Italy. So this comes from the New European, and the title of the article is quite simply Nigel Farage's attempt to spark another Brexit in Italy. Mussolini can be quite... Oh, go away. Mussolini can be quite funny. Nigel Farage told a Channel 4 reality show in 2014. I saw his granddaughter last week. Pretty girl, pretty girl. Why is it doing that? Oh, there we go. Sorry, people, but this is what happens. People always say, "Why don't you use an ad block?" If I use an ad block, half the time I can't read the website. And now this ad is going absolutely crazy. I mean, look at it. That's what's going on. I can't even read it. If I zoom up to the top, you can tell it's an ad because it just ends there, and then all I do is just boom, ad. Oh, the wonders of technology. So anyway, finally got it under control. Anyway, these are opinions Farage might want to keep on the Q team. Now he appears to be acting as an unofficial advisor to Italy's vision of the Brexit Party, which is due to launch this week. Since historians hold Mussolini's 20-long-year reign responsible for the deaths of 1 million of his fellow countrymen, it's just possible that not all Italians will chuckle along with Nigel at the thought of his memory. Neither, you'd imagine, they'd be too impressed to learn that Herman Kelly, who worked as a PR man for Farage's EFDD grouping in the European Parliament, used it to refer to his boss as the second deuce. Or, just a bit of fun, isn't it, Nigel told Politico in 2018. Or, to now recall in how 2017 Farage was booed by Italian MEPs for comparing the EU to the mafia, later withdrawing his remark on the grounds of national sensitivities. And you cannot see them looking too fondly on Farage's speech in early March at the Daily Telegraph's Heroes of Brexit event, when he claimed that Italy's battle with COVID-19 presented a golden opportunity for Britain. This awful crisis and the way it is gripping parts of Italy make a trade deal with the EU easier now than it has ever been. The collapsing Italian economy needs a deal with the UK desperately, he said. None of this will matter much to Farage and his fanboy Giuliani Paragon. Pagmori, I think that's how you say it. The former five-star movement senator, who is now heading up the new No Europe for Italy party. And names like Quitalia or Exitalia have been deemed too Anglophobic, which is already polling around 7%. He calls Farage a true British patriot, hailing him for bringing the United Kingdom out of the European cage, and the only one who sent away the technocrats from Brussels. The former talk show host shares Farage's awkward squad tendencies for public criticism of his party's failing commitment to Euroscepticism, and it saw him kicked out of the five-star earlier this year. Paragon says that the pair have discussed the present and the future of a true sovereign country, which, even more so after Brexit, is able to give real answers to citizens in the midst of the post-COVID economic crisis. It's hardly surprising to hear that Farage is interested in helping out, along with Denmark and Poland, the Netherlands and, visibly, Ireland. Italy is a country he's mentioned repeatedly as being prime for the next Brexit. Until recently, the polls were firmly against him, with the Italian Research Institute census reporting that last year that only 25% believed that leaving the EU was a good idea, against the 62% who thought it was a bad idea. But the union's muddled response has been another silver lining from coronavirus Farage. In April, it's an Italian news network poll put out the numbers at an uncomfortable 51-49% in favour of remaining. Those polls are expected to move away from the lever after Italy became one of the key beneficiaries of the EU Recovery Fund that was finally agreed on Tuesday morning. Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte says that it will receive 28% of the 675 billion available in grants and loans. But Farage has good reason to stay interested. Not only does it look like his lucrative private jet trips to the USA will become far more infrequent after Thursday, November the 3rd, but Italy represents some kind of spiritual homeland for Brexit. It was after discussions with five-star co-founder Giuliano Calcelgo in Milan in January of 2015 that Farage resolved to make Facebook and data the key battlegrounds for pro-leaving campaigning, telling the political scientist Matthew Goodwin and Caitlin Melso, "If I was starting UKIP today, I would spend 20 years speaking to people in village halls, or I would base it on the five-star co-founder Bilepi or Gero model. I know exactly what I would do." Calcelgo's methods attracted the eye of Aaron Banks too, making the Milan meeting a fatal first step on the road to leave, just 17 months on. The Brexit Party, which toppled Theresa May and appears to have forced Britain into the kind of Brexit that in 2016 only existed in the wildest dreams of leavers, was founded in Five Star's image. Banks can now be found working for the crotchety right-winger Wills Peters in his flagging New Zealand general election campaign against the hugely popular incumbent PM Jacinda Ardern. Telling the website News Hub Nation that this week that he is determined to deliver Winston on steroids, a happy warrior. A far cry it isn't from the days after Barack Obama delivered his pro-Remain get to the back of the queue speech in March of 2016. Back then, Banks' organisation responded with a back off Barack petition, and Farage warned him to butt out of the Brexit debate. Honestly, the cheek of these foreigners trying to interfere in the democratic process of other countries. And that's where we are now. And like I say, it's very unlikely Although, again, that poll, quite worrying. But with Italy, like I say, set to be one of the main recipients of the EU funding, and remember, Brexiteers had been crowing for the past couple of months that, oh, they'll never strike a budget deal without the UK. Guess what? They struck a budget deal. And that's probably just the first of many programs and packages that they are going to produce for EU and EU members. So Italy at this moment is going to be a main beneficiary of it. Italy has been a main beneficiary of many EU funds. So it's very, very unlikely that these things. I'm not going to say it never could happen, but if you are in Italy, then I'd be wary of that guy and what he could do, because he's going to use Facebook and social media, especially big data. And again, I'm not too hot on Italian politics, so I don't know. There could be stuff already there potentially to stop him. Maybe this guy's already considered a national joke, so it's not really too much of a worry. However, it's Italy, you never know. But Italy has been going through, especially the past 2 years, quite a tumultuous time, really, because they have 3 houses to get a law through, and very often some laws go through the first and the second house, and then the third house just unilaterally just kills it off. So trying to get bills and stuff passed and acts through like the Italian parliament system has been criticised for years as being too slow, and one of their prime ministers tried to change that, and him leaving, especially from what I can see and what I've read into, seems to have caused much of the political turmoil in Italy at this moment in time. So, to my Italian friends out there, don't do what we did. We are going to be paying for it in spades. In spades. We have yet to begin to see the disaster that Brexit is about to unfold into being. Because come January 1st, we're about to see it. And here's the irony of all this. The Brexiteers, instead of actually trying to win the argument politically, instead have just decided, well, you know what, we're just going to tear it apart to pieces, piece by piece. And that's essentially how it seems they're trying to kill and destroy the European Union. And it's just like, that's not winning the argument, guys, because here's the thing, even if they did succeed, the idea of a unified European Union and the ideas it had aren't actually going to go away. In fact, even if they did succeed, very, very quickly, I think you'd see a lot of countries realise that actually that was quite a good idea. Let's just rebuild it. And as I've said to many people and Brexiteers, look, all roads lead us back to rejoining eventually. It's just a matter of time. And I think it's going to shock people how quickly opinion turns. Many people have said within 5 to 10 years that Britain will be wanting to rejoin the European Union. And we can see that on the cards already. So I warn many people from Italy, don't do what we did, because if you think you're in a political mess now, wait until you're trying to pass a withdrawal agreement through your party or your parliament. Yeah, I can definitely not. Oh well, I can say never, but be on guard. My Italian brothers, because Farage is coming, and never underestimate Farage, because as I said, it's very likely. This year was meant to be his victory lap, and he was meant to be in the US doing his speaker tour circuit and all that jazz. But now, why do that when he can go on tour in Europe and help out all these Eurosceptics and try and just rip apart the European Union? Not as as they said it would be, because constantly the the Brexiteer argument is, oh, the European Union's going to fall in 5 years. Well, here we are 5 years on at this point, 10 years on from him saying that again in the past, and on and on and on. European Union still hasn't fallen. The European Union is unanimously quite a very, very good idea. And one of the things I think that will definitely injure that the Italian Brexit party, as we'll call it, is certainly the idea that Euroscepticism in Europe versus Britain is very, very different. Very different. Even right-wingers in Europe pretty much tend to agree, unanimously almost, that the single market and customs union is a good idea. So even if they did, quote, leave the European Union, they wouldn't be leaving the customs union or single market, because they see that as a obvious boon and advantage to their country and being in that bloc. So, and you have to ask the question of, is this an organised campaign at this point? Is there a foreign money flowing in to Farage and these other parties that have a vested interest in destroying the European Union? And I think there is. I think if there was a serious investigation into Farage and where he's getting a lot of this money to do all this stuff, and even into the 2016 referendum, which again there should absolutely be one, because again it's all about defending democracy, people. You need this type of stuff, and you need to look into this stuff to defend democracy. This isn't a question of, oh, it's Brexiteer versus Remainer. It's to defend our democracy. So there you have it. But as always, please like and subscribe this video, and if you'd like to support the channel, I do have a Patreon link down below, as well as if you'd like, you can buy me a coffee below as well if you want to just make a one-off donation. So thank you for that, and we'll see you next time.